Howdy y'all, you got the Bulldog on the channel. It inevitably happens whenever somebody needs their vehicle back right away, and you can't stress enough just how much they need this vehicle. You don't understand, I really gotta have this vehicle. We've all heard it on our side of the counter. And I've had customers that, want you to order parts ahead of time so that they'll have it there so that there's no waiting to get it. Well, this is what we run into, and this is what we have been running into more and more and more. Let me show you what we got. Now this here is just a plain old Chevy. It was a Venture, but I think it's an Uplander now. But it's the short version. It's the short wheelbase version. They didn't make this as much. And as you can see, we're doing a fuel pump here. Having to do it on the ground because I got the lift tied up. But we look at this and we see lines coming out here, all this stuff. Pretty run of the mill. Now we have been narrowed down on what brands we can get as far as fuel pumps go, because we've had a huge amount of problems with certain brands, and it seems like what they do is the junk brand, we don't buy it and don't buy it and don't buy it, but that's all it seems to be all that store carries. So we go to another store and we buy their premium brand, and we buy that for a while and that for a while, and then pretty soon they get less and less of it, and then everything gets mixed up and they don't carry it anymore, or we pull it out of the box and it's a different brand. We've seen that quite a bit. This one, a little upsetting. Delphi for a Chevrolet, Delphi pump. This is what we've been using for several years. First things first, it's mirrored. This thing is flipped. This is supposed to be on this side and this is supposed to be on this side. These are supposed to be over here pointing out. But then, if I can get this to focus, look at that. One of these things is not like the other. Now, we didn't notice that until after we noticed this right here, but that can be dealt with, especially since we called and found out that this is supposed to be the right one. It's not even the right brand in this box. Well, we don't have another one. We'll have to order it. Well, it's not in stock. We'll have to get it from the warehouse. It's going to be next week. Yeah. It's the nature of the business. But now what do we do in the meantime? We've got this all taken apart. We've got it up on jack stands, taking up a bay. This is our deal. When you buy parts from the shop and they mark them up with a commission, we're dealing with that, and that's why the parts get marked up. You as the customer, you're not running around trying to figure all this stuff out. What happens if the customer brought in their own parts and this happened? And the customer has to run around and find the parts and do all this kind of stuff while this is in our bay. Well, what do? Well, you jack it back up, put it back down on the ground, hook to it, and drag it out. If you're on flat rate, you're not getting paid to do that. You're not getting paid to jack it up twice. It doesn't take very long, but it takes effort and it takes time. Time you don't get paid for. If The shop is paying their techs an hourly rate. The shop is paying for that. Again, it's time that you don't get paid for. If you're at your job and you get paid hourly, oh well, you still get paid for your time. In this business, you don't. If you're on strictly flat rate, you don't get paid for any prep work. Time pushing vehicles in and out, time jacking them up, getting them under them. You get paid for the actual work that you do. But anyway, this is something that we've been dealing with for some years, and it's getting worse. Some companies will buy out and do this, and then some people that will order parts and put a different one back in the box and go get the money back out of the higher price. We've seen that before too. The worst case of that was, you buy a set of rotors and they came from the warehouse and the store brought them out to you and you open them up and they're used. Somebody put used rotors back in the box, taped it up, sent them back. They sent them back to the warehouse without checking them. You order them from the warehouse and you get them, and they're used. It's unfortunate, but it's a reality. And that is part of the reason why your prices keep going up. We have control over who we buy from. However, we don't have control on what's available. This pump's not available now. General Motors has discontinued it. We tried. The high end supposedly has the right one. We won't know until it gets here. We physically have it in our hands. One issue we've been having is when they have something like this, that it's a little bit rare, although it's still the same vehicle. It's just a shorter version. The company will just say, well, just use the one from the other one. Not even bothering to find out if it fits or not. They were making two different part numbers for a reason. Do they both fit? They don't really care. Oh yeah, it fits. On my own vehicle, 87 Chevy S10 with a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder, you go look it up. Look for a throttle cable. Every store will sell you a throttle cable, but it fits the 4.3. It does not even come close to fitting the 2.5. And it will not work. Why do they sell it? Why do they say it fits? Well, they don't have to deal with it. The people installing it has to deal with it. They do not make the throttle cable anymore for the 87 Chevy S10 2.5. We retrofitted something. We hillbilly engineered it. That was one of my son's first experimentation jobs. Still working. It's not always the mechanic's fault, and there's a lot of things that are not under their control. So be understanding whenever it comes to supply chain difficulties. Like, comment, subscribe, hit your little bell notification, share it all around. We'll talk to you later.